What do I do if some of the pasture is boggy and some are good? Boggy, by boggy you mean like puggy or
like
wet?
or like actually a bog, because there's a difference. I mean, like, I would say universally, if you got an area that's always wet, you need to be really careful about you can't go in there if you've just had a rain. You have to plan your grazing around that. Where your drier parts of the year, try to graze that area when there's not as much water. That's one part. The other part is like if it is wet in there and it happens to be wet, you've got to spend a minimum amount of time. Like the longer
Give them big areas,
yep,
and then get out of there.
yeah. So like either huge area that includes that and other stuff, and don't spend any more than like a half a day or less in there if it's really wet, or even maybe even make it small, but like move them extremely fast. Like they're only in there for an hour or two or whatever, and then move them on. But you just have to be monitoring the amount of
And if they're sinking up to their elbows,
you
don't
can't go in
there.
there. Then at that point, just unless it makes up a massive portion of your land, which is problematic in and of itself. But if it's just like an area of a paddock and it's not like critical that you have to get that forage in order to make your operation run, you might want to just treat it as like additional habitat. Just like either wetland or semi-riparian habitat or whatever. Yeah, just fence it off and let it grow up into whatever happens, and you're gonna get so many interesting like bird species and wildlife and stuff that's gonna be in there that who knows the complicated relationship with your greater farm ecosystem. It could be massively improving it by having that like protected, but you can't be destroying it by letting your animals pug it. You have to figure out a solution. But if it makes up the majority of your farm, that's tough. That's tough. But I don't know. Start grazing like
you don't want to pug it.
Start grazing like swamp rabbits or something like that. Like something that'll be able to deal with it. Me and my herd of swamp rabbits.